Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are taking a look at this. It's BMW M3 Touring. We have been asking for an M3 Touring for years now. They actually made an E46 M3 Touring a one-off, but they decided to not take it into production, and well, that is just a bummer, because I think this is such a cool car. I think it works really well with the wider arches. It is longer, wider, and lower than a regular 3 Series Touring. It just looks the business, and especially in this skyscraper gray, which is a really good color actually. The M3 Touring only available as a competition and only available with xDrive, so there is just one version, automatic xDrive, which I kind of get that this is more of a daily, more of a holiday car, and that more people are going to use this. I mean, taking it on 2 skiing trips as well. But another thing that you don't get on the Touring is you don't get a carbon fiber, so it is always black. The roof rails are also always black, and then you've got a little spoiler that is also always black. This is a quite heavy car, so it weighs around 1865 kilos, which is only 30 kilos less than a BMW M5. That means that you do have quite a bit of way to slow down, and it's got a top speed of 288 on the speedo, so you do feel on the Autobahn sometimes you feel like, okay, I have to manage the brakes a little bit, make sure that they don't get too hot, because otherwise you just fry them. Regular 20-inch competition wheels, beautiful, and then of course this is the business, and we've got the split window, which is super nice, and then you've got 500 liters of luggage space, trunk space, very practical trunk. Actually, for such a small car you can actually fit a lot in it, and if you get the seats down the rear seat you have 1,500 liters of trunk space. If you put a Touring on something, I immediately think it looks cooler, and I don't know why that is. I think I really just have such a thing for fast Tourings, because they have this utilitarian feel, they can do everything and anything. You can fit your dogs and your kids in it, or you can take it to the track, and I really like that concept. We've got the regular black diffuser as well with the black tail pipes. It actually sounds pretty decent, I have to say. So it's 76 millimeters wider than a regular 3 Series Touring. You can really see that when you sit behind it. You can see those wheel arches, wide bumper, beautiful rear lights. Yeah, it's such a cool car. So it's 58 twin-power turbo, 2 mono squirrel turbos, and it is magnificent. It delivers 510 horsepower, 650 Newton-meters of torque, and it is just a beats. It's such an incredible power plant. You can tune it really easily, and it does 600-700 horsepower reliably, and I'm just in awe of what BMW have made here, because this engine is something else. It really is. So this is all the same as the regular M3. Of course, what they did do is a lot of bracing on the chassis, in the trunk, and it's got a different rear subframe, and it's called a different spiring setup for the rear as well. 40 Touring, because it is a bit heavier, around 70 kilos heavier than the sedan. You do have a different, dynamically speaking, there's a lot going on. It's a bit longer as well, and that's why they just try to get that rear as rigid as possible. And we'll check out the interior, which is a very nice spec. This bucket seat's absolutely beautiful. M3 Touring also introduces the 2-screen setup. It works fine, but it's just not as good as the previous system in my opinion. It's not as easy to use, and I think it looks all a bit, especially the speedo, it looks a bit video gamey to me and not motorsport, but that is just me. I think a lot of people will actually prefer this, because it's more digital, more screen. It is curved, which is nice, and the quality of the screen and everything is super nice. It works really well, but yeah, I just longed to the days of analog speedos and ref counters and stuff like that, but maybe I'm just a grandpa. Now of course we have the xDrive system that is switchable, so if we hit setup right there we can choose between 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive sport and 2-wheel drive. You do have to disengage traction control all the way to be able to do that, so back to setup and then you can choose sport or 2-wheel drive, which is very nice. M3 CS, when we said we were hoping that it would be rear-wheel drive, it's not as simple as just saying well you can switch it off, so it's just as good. It does feel different, and that is just because something is happening at the front. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's heavier or that there's just something happening over there, but the steering is noticeably less eager to give feedback. The nose feels a bit heavier, it just feels a bit more distant than our car, which is a rear-wheel drive manual, so that is basically the lightest setup you can have. This is the heaviest setup you can have, so there is a lot of difference between all those different M3s, which is good. That's a good thing, don't get me wrong. So the 4-wheel drive sport mode is basically most of the power sent to the rear wheels, and when it needs to it sends more to the front, so this is basically your front-wheel drive is your safety net, it's your traction control, which works super well. It also sounds pretty good. Now 4-wheel drive means that you also have a decent launch. Of course, let's put it in 4-wheel drive. BMW claims 3.6 seconds, that is very quick. 1900 kilo station wagon that will take all your crap with ease. It is really amazing. That is a very good result. That is of course the benefit of having 4-wheel drive. A lot of people are going to use this car for their holidays, for their family, staff, daily driving it in all kinds of weather, and yeah, then 4-wheel drive just makes sense in a performance car like this. And if you approach it like that, this thing drives, handles amazingly well. If you compare it to different station wagon performance cars, Tourings like an Audi RS4. Audi just introduced that latest version, the RS4 Plus or competition or whatever, you know, just to keep up with BMW and their Touring. And then of course the new C63 is going to have a 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain. Well, I could already tell you without having driven the other two, that handling wise, driving dynamically wise, this is the one to have. It is just epic. And the gearbox is beautiful, as always, super responsive, does whatever you want whenever you wanted to, and if you leave in an automatic mode it also does whatever you want whenever you wanted. It just decides that for you, and it always, almost always decides the right thing. Top speed, as I say, 288. Brakes, as I said, the brake feel is good, the performance is good as well. It's just the fact that when you get them to hold they start fading real quick, and that is just something that is not going to happen with carbon ceramics. But it still is an amazing station wagon. I mean, the fact that BMW finally decided to do this and do it right is just amazing to me, and I'm really grateful that they actually decided to do that, because we've been bitching about it for a long time and they finally did it. They probably coming with an M5 Touring on the next generation as well, which should be epic as well. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. See you next one, bye.